Hey, look at this. It's a new year.
What?
They added a new number to the year.
Madness.
Time to you gotta remember to write the right year when you're writing all your checks out.
Oh man, that's something that I'm gonna have to really think about now is when I write dates, I have to do it correctly.
You can't be living in the past. You gotta be living in the now.
Hey, that's that's what Xenoblade's about.
Never heard of that.
Ah,
Took us what 1 minute and you're already making Xenoblade references on the podcast in 2023.
yep.
How dare?
He 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 he
Oh
he.
man. Anyways, hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Lady
Hello, hello.
This is episode number 315, and it is the first episode of 2023. The new year's upon us.
It's here.
And we got some fun things to talk about this week.
Yep.
Fun and weird, for sure.
And it's funny because last time we talked about these things, you were like, "Oh man, hopefully I actually remember to do it in a timely manner, or we'll be doing it half a year after they come out again."
We're doing it in a timely manner this
We're
time.
doing it in a timely manner. You remembered, and I am
I
proud of
did.
you.
Yes, there are 2 new episodes of the The Smoke Kishibe Rohan live action OVAs, and we're going to talk about them here today. A little bit of a bummer. It's only 2 episodes this time, but these are
Yeah,
2 pretty wild episodes for sure.
they go places.
They do go places. We have on our plate Hot Summer Martha and the Jockin' Kid, which is a readaptation or an adaptation of the episode from Diamond is Unbreakable,
Right.
while Hot Summer Martha is from the Rohan manga one shots. Which there is something in this episode in particular that caught us very off guard,
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
which is actually true. A true
What?
thing that they put from the manga into this, because this chapter of the manga came out last year.
So it's canon?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting. I mean, I can't argue with the author. It's his character. But I have thoughts. I have thoughts. I think you have similar thoughts.
I mean, to me, it makes the most sense. I'm like, yeah, he would do this. He would be like this, 100%.
You think so?
Yes.
Oh man, I just can't see it.
Anyways, we'll get into all that. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, we'll get into it.
let's first start off with episode 7, Hot Summer Martha,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a wild episode.
3 balls.
3 balls. Yeah. We begin this episode and these people are trying to get Rohan to review VR of all things. And they really
Like,
want to get
wow, look at the
his
ocean. It's
endorsement
so
for it.
realistic.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's realistic, but it didn't make me feel like I was gonna die, so it's not good. And
Yeah,
they're
it's not good because I need that realistic sensation of death. And they're like,
yes.
and then these freaking morons, as they're walking out of his office, are like, oh, we'll just attribute the quote to him. It's fine.
And then we'll just apologize afterwards. It's okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. I was like, you're in this man's office. He can hear you.
Yep.
He's weird, but he's not dumb.
No, he basically just he uses Heaven's Door and just yeah, don't do anything that I don't want you to do
Yeah.
to me. Anyways, there you go.
I just thought that it was Rohan and VR.
Oh, also, he finds out that the younger dude there was a big fan of his
Mm-hmm.
and really wanted an autograph, so he sits there and writes an autograph and then writes it on his head
Yep.
for him, which I thought was very funny.
That was really good too. That was really good.
And then we flash forward 6 months later, and it is the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh,
It's a wild thing to say.
it's so wild. It was so unexpected. Rohan's losing his mind because he can't go outside and do research.
Yeah, so he does not like being locked up. He's got a dog though, little
Yay.
Bakin, little
Got a
puppy.
little golden retriever puppy.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
and he's having like telecom meetings with Kyoka about this new character he wants to create called Hot Summer Martha. She's like, we keep looking at this and we think you might have to change this because there might be some legalities with this that we don't really want to deal with. And we were both at first like very confused because it's like, what would be the thing that would be like legality or like a parody or like plagiarism, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And she was like, yes, the two circles and then the circle in between. And they were like,
oh. He's like, you realize those are eyes and not ears, right? And she's like, yeah, but also worth mentioning that she has ruffles on her mask, which is perfectly in character and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
There's also a weird lady hanging outside of Rohan's house. It's like a fangirl. He's just like, hey.
She followed him home from the vet.
And it's just like, hey, don't trespass on my property. Even go home.
And she has a snake.
And Kyoka's like, that doesn't seem good.
Yeah, I need to
that seems real bad.
I love that he like goes and throws on a mask to like yell at her out the window.
I mean, he's being safe there, but then he's also just like, I hate this. I don't like you wearing masks. I want to go outside. I need to explore. I need to get research done, and I can't do that if we're in lockdown, and I have to wear a mask all the time. I can't breathe properly. Urgh.
He basically became one of those people who like had to go to Walmart.
Again, I feel like in the context of Rohan being just a weird dude, he would come up with those scenarios in his head. Not that he's like a weird anti-mask or anti-vaxxer type of person. He's just like, I want to go outside and do research, and I can't do that under these conditions, and I hate it.
No. I agree with that. Which
I think that's what makes it funny and very in character.
It makes it funny and not like, oh God, he's one of those people.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, okay, he would. He absolutely would. And like the idea of him just going stir crazy is also very in character.
Mm-hmm. Also, he goes and takes his dog for a walk, and by taking his dog for a walk, he puts the dog in like a carrier that he holds on his chest and just walks around with the dog.
He just walks around with a dog in a baby carrier. I'm like, bro, you gotta walk the dog. The dog can walk, it has leggies that it should use. How's it gonna pee?
It's like, no, we're going for a walk, but I'm also going for the walk. Not you. You're fine.
Not you. I just want to cuddle you.
So yeah, he goes out and just is very bummed about everything. He doesn't like having to stand or be outside, not being able to go wherever he wants, do whatever he wants, and having to wear masks. How dare! And then Bakin gets real like upset about something on a specific road, and they go that way, and they find this weird old tree that's like a shrine now.
Mm-hmm.
And they break into it, which is, what you do, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And there's like this weird, small, tiny mirror in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees it and then just like passes out.
Mm-hmm.
But then wakes back up and is like, oh, I guess I'll just come back here tomorrow and figure out what's going on with this. So he goes back home and it's like, he looks at his phone. There's like a bunch of missed messages and calls. And he's like, that's weird. Kyoka calls him and is like, yeah, man, the changes for Hot Summer Martha have been really great. The reviews are just piling in. Everyone loves it. I'm going to come by and pick up the manuscript tomorrow. And Rohan's like, huh? What are you talking about? And then there's also like a mess in the doorway area where like the dog was. And it's like all these toys are ripped up. And he's just like, that's real weird.
He's like, when did you get teeth?
Yeah. So he goes in and finds the manuscript and opens it up and sees that the character's been changed and immediately calls Kyoka and she's like, yeah, the copies are just flying off the shelves. We can't keep them in stock, essentially. He's like, what do you mean what it's changed? Why is it four circles now? And Kyoka's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one who's approved the design change and everything. That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you said this was okay, so
he's like, And then he hears a strange person in his bedroom, and goes in with a baseball bat, and there's just a naked lady there.
A naked lady.
And he's like, what is happening?
Then he realizes it's the fangirl.
And then he looks at his calendar, is like, it's October, and he's like, huh?
It was like July last he
Huh?
looked.
Yeah.
I did think one thing was interesting is that he had like spilled ink on the manuscript, and that was like one of the first things he checked was like, is the
Hmm.
ink still there? And it wasn't.
Yes.
Because that also seems very in character that the first thing he would check to see if time was right was whether or not a mistake was done with his art.
Yeah. So he finds out all this and is just very confused, and he goes back to that shrine to try and like find that tree and everything, and he finds like an actual shrine there now. And there's like these two priests working there, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? We're closed." And he's like, "Oh, it's nothing. I just got to see something real quick." And then he's like, basically trying to find the tree and like ask them about it. And they're like, "Did you mess with that tree or anything? Were you the person who was here 3 months ago and messed with it?" And Rohan's like, So these two priests basically describe to him the story of Yababako Hoshi, which is like the spirit that will take over you, and essentially becomes you for like 3 months if you look into this mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the 3 months are up, it basically just reverts you back to normal, but the time has passed, but you don't have the knowledge of that time passing. It's just basically like, a split second for you. So, and it's also like supposed to be kind of like it goes and does like all your like darkest desires or something like that.
Yep.
So like it's doing whatever like you wouldn't have the know with all to do or want to do because it's all taboos and everything. But this spirit basically does all that for you, and you have no idea that it happened. So he finds all this out and is just like,
How do I undo that?
Yeah, how do I undo this? And the priests are basically like, you can undo what it did, but you can't undo time because that time's already passed, so that's not happening.
Also worth mentioning, these two characters are really good. Like
Yeah,
I compared them to the twins in The Shining, even though they're supposed to be like dad and son.
but they're very creepy.
They're very creepy and like something is just off with them and they like say things in sync and I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay."
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel like they're kind of like otherworldly too.
Yeah. They also make mention of a thing of like, they're like, how did you find the shrine and everything? It's like, oh, I was walking my dog and I was at a crossroad and then we went this way and we found it. And one of the priests is like, oh yeah, if you go to four-way crosses, they're especially dangerous. Bad things happen there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also tell him that the way to basically undo what the spirit did is you have to take the mirror, rotate it left 360 degrees 3 times, but you have to do it without it seeing your reflection in the mirror. So if you do that, you'll be okay. So Rohan goes into the back entrance of the shrine. He does it, and he thinks he's all good. And Kyoka is going to bring him a figure of Hot Summer Martha. So Rohan's like, yeah, I did it. Everything's great. I figured it all out. Going home. Kyoka gets into his house because she has a key. And she's like, oh yeah, it's locked. I gotta unlock it, do all this stuff. I'll put the figure on the desk. He's not here. I'll just sit here and wait for him. And she's like, something's weird here. And the gal's like watching her from above.
Mm-hmm.
Very creepily.
Which I guess this is like time skip again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rohan comes home. He's like, sees the security camera's been installed. He's like, that's weird. He also walks inside and sees like that the gal's snake has been just
Beheaded.
demolished. Yeah, it's chewed up and into multiple pieces. There's a big dog barking in a door in his room. It's a large version of his dog, and he's just growling at him. He's like, "That's weird," and basically just like keeps it in the room and like closes the doors. Like, all right, we've got that done. Okay, something happened here. Maybe I guess I didn't fix this. And then like, he finds another calendar, or he looks on his phone. He's like, it's January now. He's like,
No.
And essentially, like, there was a very small pot that was holding the mirror that caught his reflection in the mirror. So it basically didn't fix it for him.
Yep.
He finds the figure of Hot Summer Martha and is very mad.
Because four spheres.
Mm-hmm. And then he watches like the security camera footage and sees like the spirit version of him like messing around with this gal, doing weird things. And then he finds Kyoka like on the floor in a lot of pain and is just very confused.
She's like gasping for breath.
Yeah. He's like trying to help her, and then the gal just sneaks up behind him and pricks him with a syringe. And he's like, whoa. Not having a good time.
No, she kind of goes like full on psycho mode. It's like, so why is this girl sitting at your desk, and why does she have a key to your house, and why do you need anybody else? It's not me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh God.
He's like, you gotta call an ambulance. She's like, no.
We'll let her die first.
Yeah. I don't want to be a single mother. You're just like, uh-oh.
One, Rohan should not be a dad.
No.
I already feel uncomfortable with the fact that he has a pet, because I feel like he's not going to be good with that.
I don't know. He seemed okay with it when he was normal.
I mean, other than not actually walking the dog, but...
Well, he does walk it later. I mean, technically, he doesn't walk it later. He has Kyoka walk it for him. Or
correct.
She basically volunteers to walk it, but he does eventually start walking the dog normally because it gets too big, which is very funny.
Right. But he should definitely not have a child.
No.
Two, this is where we were talking about earlier comes in. I don't think Rohan...
No, of course not.
I don't think he... It doesn't seem like something that he's, like, interested in.
No, not at all.
But apparently he does. And apparently this is a thing. Huh? So you think that he would?
No. I was talking about the earlier stuff.
Oh, the earlier stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not this part.
Not this part. I still don't think he...
No. But again, it wasn't him, so.
But I mean, it's saying that like his desires would be to do so. And like,
well,
I don't...
he cages those in very well, apparently.
Apparently he does. And like, man, boning your creepy fan, like I think you could do better, my friend.
You think?
Kind of a bad start when she stalks you home from the vet.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she's, pregnant enough that it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Nope. Nope. I don't believe it.
So he basically has to like find a way out of this bad situation because it's very bad.
And she knows that he has Heaven's Door.
Yeah, so he can't just like use his power because she's basically like taking out his arm that does that. So he like transforms his other arm into a book. He's like, hey, look in this book. You'll see that I love you. I'm only for you. And when she does, he's able to use Heaven's Door on her that time. And then basically like is able to write commands into her, be like, hey, go to the shrine and turn the mirror for her, undo all the stuff. And then also, hey, don't commit any crimes. No crimes.
No crimes.
And then the episode wraps up where like he's just like sitting at his desk, everything's fine now. They're both, him and Kyoka are fine. And it's just like, whoa, that was a bad time. She like goes up to Lee because she's like, I gotta go deliver some manuscripts. Bye. Hello, dog. See you later. You're big. Rohan also notices that the figure didn't change, so he's still mad about that because
he's like, I didn't have anything to do with this.
No. I don't remember if it's in this scene in particular or if it's like in the next episode, but there's a scene where like the dog shows up very briefly and is like in the room where the dog's supposed to be in. And like it cuts away and cuts back and you see the dog roaming around in the background. And I was like, I'm surprised they kept that dog right there. I figured it was just like, all right, let's take the dog off set. It's good.
Yeah.
It's done its part. And no, the dog is like roaming around.
Just roaming around.
I was like, that's real funny.
It's when she's in his office.
Yeah.
You could see the dog silhouette like go past the door. You're like, oh.
Hey, dog.
Hi, dog. Being a dog.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny.
It was real good.
It was really good.
We get a cliffhanger where some boys are reading the latest issue of Pink Dark Boy, and then another boy it clenches his fist and leather sounds happen.
Leather sounds happen.
It's pretty good.
God, the troop of Leather Sound Fist is like one of the funniest things.
It really is.
What a wild episode that was.
Yeah, that's man.
So much happened.
I love how that came out literally within the last 12 months, and it's just as wild as you would expect.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Do you want to hear about some manga and drama differences?
Oh, I would love
to. You make your point you were going to make.
I don't even remember. I was just gonna say it's some JoJo.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Let's see here. The scene of the beginning with the VR is added in.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I understand now.
Added into this compared to the manga.
Okay.
They removed the scene of Rohan looking out the window with Bakin and seeing the rain falling in Mitsukabe Hill. Changed Rohan dropping Bakin's jar of food and glass breaking to him spilling some water and changing the bowls instead. A little less clumsy. Added extra dialogue during Kyoka's conversation with Rohan on the phone where she calls his dog Dokin and she says she never expected him to get a dog. She sent Rohan a treat box, but Bakin didn't like it.
Amazing.
Changed Rohan saying he would call Kyoka back in his workroom to Kyoka asking if they can switch to doing a video call.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Added Rohan saying that Eve found his house by following him from the vet's office. Added Kyoka telling Rohan to change the locks and add security cameras. Changed Rohan knocking over his ink with his elbow to bumping into the table and having a spill instead. Removed Rohan explicitly mentioning COVID-19. Added a scene of Kyoka saying that Rohan must be stressed lately and her being motivated to do something about Hot Summer Martha's design as well as ordering new keys for Rohan's house. Added a scene of Bakin whimpering at the crossroads that leads to the shrine, which causes Rohan to go investigate there. Removed Rohan mentioning the fact about the vessels and giant tree trunks being hauled out when they're more than a few hundred years old. Changed the stones ceiling off the sacred tree to a bamboo fence. Added Bakin whimpering when Rohan got near the mirror. Removed the priest sweeping nearby after Rohan looks at the mirror. Changed Rohan looking at his phone to check the time before heading back home to seeing it after he receives all the text messages from Kyoka. Removed Rohan drinking water from his fridge.
No water for him.
None. Changed Rohan hearing Eve's footsteps behind him to hearing her laugh and talk to Moo instead, which I think is her snake or one of her animals. Changed Moo to a bearded dragon. It's the dragon. Instead of a crocodile, and Eve has a snake with her as well.
A crocodile was the original animal. Amazing.
They're like, we can't get a crocodile for this. Sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Eve doesn't carry Moo to show Rohan when she tells him that she borrowed his shirt. Rearranges the scene of Rohan looking at the security camera and seeing Yababako Hoshi with Eve to happen later after the second time skip. Remove Rohan saying he doesn't hear any cicadas outside.
Okay.
Removed Rohan's monologue and wondering whether he's crazy and how it doesn't make sense that the time jump from July to October.
I mean, he is a little crazy.
Added the girls walking behind Rohan mentioning that they wish they could take their masks off since they're getting mask acne.
I mentioned that I also get mask knee.
Rearranged some dialogue in Rohan's conversation with the priest. Added the priest mentioning the crossroads have been long considered dangerous after Rohan says he got to the shrine from the crossroads due to the legend of the Sujigami yokai. Changed the condition of turning the mirror one turn to the left to being 3 turns instead, since 3 is an auspicious number.
Mm-hmm.
Changed Rohan using Heaven's Door to turn the mirror and having him enter through the back entrance of the shrine instead so that Yababako Hoshi wouldn't see him. Heaven's Door, please turn this for me.
Please do this.
Added a scene of Kyoka trying to call Rohan but him not answering. She goes to his house to bring him a sample of the Hot Summer Martha figure. Added a scene of Kyoka sitting in Rohan's chair and admiring the Hot Summer Martha figure with Eve watching her, whereas Eve only mentioned Kyoka doing so in the manga, which I think is probably just because like Kyoka is not as prominent as a character in the manga as she is here, probably.
Yeah.
Added Rohan noticing the security camera at his house and wondering when Kyoka installed it there. Changed Moo's guts ripped out by Bakken into being Eve's snake ripped apart instead.
Ah.
The second time skip happens because Rohan's image reflected on a pot, which then reflected on the mirror instead of Yababako Hoshi seeing Heaven's Door.
Wait. Moo was a crocodile in the manga?
Yes.
So the dog ripped the guts out of a crocodile?
Yes.
Holy moly. Anyway, continue.
Eve tosses Rohan's phone away instead of kicking it. Added Eve seeing the Yababaka Hoshi version of Rohan use Heaven's Door on a delivery man. Added Eve sitting on top of Rohan asking if he wants to read her mind before deciding it's not fair that he does while she doesn't get to read his. Removed Rohan thinking of himself about Yababaka Hoshi and nothing being able to control people dying and being born. Added Rohan writing the order on Eve's book that she will not commit any crimes. Removed the Yababaka Hoshi version of Eve visiting Rohan and Rohan returning mood to her.
That was something I was wondering, is how did she not get a version of it when she went in to turn the mirror?
Added Kyoka telling Bakin that she'll take him and Marin to a dog run next time. And added kids reading Pink Dark Boy and thinking Hot Summer Martha is a cool villain.
Cool villain.
So yeah, I feel like a lot of that is just like, stuff they have to change because it's a television show and not a manga.
Yeah.
And just, to make the flow better for this sort of medium compared to the other one.
Flow or just feasibility, because
yeah, exactly.
Bearded dragon much easier than a crocodile.
Little bit easier to get than a crocodile, for sure.
Man. I wondered, though, how did she get away with not having... or maybe she did get a version of it. I don't know.
Who knows?
But, even then, she's required to do the thing that he wrote down in her book. So, even if she does get a version after this, I guess it wouldn't matter because that version would still have to do the turn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Supernatural JoJo stuff.
Yeah, basically. And then the second episode is the adaptation of the Jock and Kid is Coming episode I think there's maybe one or two, I can't remember, but it's a longer arc in the manga from Diamond is Unbreakable. For the most part, I feel like they kind of use the same story here. It's, here's a weird kid running up to Rohan, keeps on challenging him to rock, paper, scissors, and wants to show that he can beat him, basically. And then wacky shenanigans happen.
Yep.
That's how it goes. They do change things a little bit here because the boy is a little bit mad because of Hot Summer Martha being 4 spheres instead of 3. It's like, it should have been 3. It makes more sense if it's 3. That's the way it should be.
Yep.
He's very angry about this the whole time. And bust into Rohan's house to yell at him about this, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Anyways, please leave.
I agree with you.
Get out of here."
Anyway, moving on.
And instead of the arrow piercing this kid, he just trips and falls in the middle of the street and gets his stand. And he's like, "Yes, I love rock, paper, scissors now."
It's specifically at that same crossroad.
Yeah. So after this, you just get weird things where he just keeps showing up to challenge Rohan to rock, paper, scissors. And at one point, Rohan uses Heaven's Door on him. He's like, nothing weird with this kid. He just likes rock, paper, scissors. All right, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I know what he's going to do, so I'll just do the opposite and win. Hooray.
Yay. I love how the taxi driver at one point is just not even worried about the fact that this guy's like, hold on a minute. Let me put this small child over by this tree and lean down and look at him. All right, rock, paper, scissors. All right, cool. Let's go, taxi driver.
This will only take a minute.
Taxi driver, what is wrong with you? Why do you not think this is weird? Unless you just know Rohan and you're like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Taxi driver in a rural area. It's just I've seen some stuff. I don't care.
Like I said, and if Rohan is a regular, then he's like, yep, that's just how he is.
Yeah. The kid basically keeps egging on Rohan by just running into him and just doing things to upset him. He goes to the restaurant where he usually gets his tea and everything and just sits in the seat I'm here first. I get the drink. I'm the only one here. This is my seat now. You have to go elsewhere.
Screaming at one point because he was being attacked.
Kyoko just shows up and is like, why are you acting like a child, Rohan?
You are going to cause an issue and people are going to be really mad at you because you're bullying a child.
And then he beats him at rock, paper, scissors and gloats about it.
Loudly at the restaurant.
At the restaurant. And everyone's just looking at him like, what's this deal with this guy?
He's like, cancel the orange juice. Bring me a tea. Oh my God. Well, and then there's the plant book at the
Yeah.
bookstore.
He's like, Rohan's like looking through some books, like, oh, this plant book would be very good reference material for my manga. And then he just takes the book out of his hands, like,
Yoink.
I'm gonna buy this book. And then
Unless rock, paper,
yeah,
scissors.
and then he beats him this time. And this is where, if you've seen the Diamond is Unbreakable stuff, it basically falls in line with that. Where anytime the kid wins in rock paper scissors, he takes parts of Rohan's ability and power,
Mm-hmm.
and those are his now. So like Rohan loses the ability to use his arm. He's just like, oh, my arm, it doesn't work. I'm in pain.
Ow.
I'm in a lot of pain. And then they run up to a roof and do it again, and then he gets beat again, and then he's in a lot more pain and just struggling.
His leggies aren't working
Little
right.
leggies.
There's the crazy scenes with like the glass.
Yeah, he tries to prove that like the kid is like, I have all the luck in the world, so he just throws a rock into a window and just sits there and lets the glass all like shower him, and he doesn't get hit by it or anything.
Rohan does though.
Rohan gets a little nick
Little-
on his
little
hand,
nick.
and then basically it just turns into them trying to outwit each other and outprove each other of wills type deal.
I was comparing it to the scene in Princess Bride with the poison in the goblet.
Yeah,
Because it's basically the same thing. It's like, oh, I used paper this time, but will I use paper again? I don't know. I mean, like the smart thing to do would be to not use paper again because you would expect that. But what if you don't expect that and I use paper again? It's like, oh my God.
mm-hmm.
Wilden.
So they have this big showdown, and then eventually Rohan's able to win because he shows him the volume of Pink Dark Boy with Hot Summer Martha on it, and he notices that anytime that kid sees it, he makes a fist.
He gets angry.
He's angry. He makes a leather noise with his
Yep.
fist.
Durr. He's like, I didn't mean to throw a rock. What is this?
So that's how he's able to win. And then Rohan does the same thing as the kid and showers himself with glass and doesn't get hit with anything. So the kid's like, okay, I guess you win. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
I gotta go.
Glad you can use your legs again.
Yeah. And then the end of the episode sees like Rohan and Kyoka walking in the park, and she's like, "Where'd that kid go? That was weird." Anyways, and he's like, "Yeah, it's over. I gave him an autograph. It's fine. Whatever."
And she just accepts that.
She's like, "All right, great, cool." Anyways,
I'm glad you guys are getting along.
they talk about street fortune telling.
Oh, they do. They do. And she says that she wants to go overseas, and somebody basically says like, not a chance.
And scared, very scared.
Ripperoni.
They go back to Rohan's house and they talk more about kind of like weird beliefs and strange things that happen. And Rohan's like, hey, there's a vampire association in Italy with a lot of members in it.
Oh man,
Weird things are everywhere.
I think it was the last episode, but I forgot about the part where he just like shakes her purse and throws it at her. He's like, what do you even keep in here?
Yeah.
It's really good.
This small, tiny person. Like, what is in this? Here.
Oh man. Yeah, the Vampire Association.
Yeah. And then Kyoka's like, we should go travel someplace and go do some research. And Rohan's like, no, I gotta do work. See ya. Gotta go by. And then the end of the episode sees Kyoka just walking down a path, and like she pulls out this photo and is like, I'd really love to go to Paris, It'd be really nice to see the Louvre.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh,
Both of us are like,
oh. That'd have been cool. I hope they eventually do, like, if they're going to keep doing these, like, they adapt that as well.
I hope so.
Considering how they've been very, like, mixed about what they decide to adapt and everything, which is very different from how the anime's been doing it, where they've, taken from the manga, they've taken from the short stories, they've taken from Diamond is Unbreakable. So to, like, do the Rohan at the Louvre manga, I think would fit in really well with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be super cool, though. Also, the story of that is really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly, I just want more of these two.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool just to see that adapted in particular.
Yeah, so that was my big question is like, is it a nod or is it a hint of what's to come?
Because I think if you did that, you could pair that up with the At a Confessional chapter
Mm-hmm.
and have it just be Rohan's in Europe
Right.
on vacation doing research. So you could do both of those together and it would work.
It would totally work.
So hopefully that is the thing they do if they keep on doing these and continue to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hope they do because I really do enjoy these episodes and everything.
I love them so much.
Mhm.
I still disagree with the fact that Rohan, but that wasn't their fault.
Hey, hi, hello, it's Jared from the future interrupting Jared now from the past to say, hey, they confirmed they're making Rohan of the Lerv as a movie adaptation, which is real cool. We just didn't know because they announced it the day after we recorded, so we couldn't have any impressions or anything about that, but we are very excited about it. It's going to be rad. I'm excited to see it. It comes out in May, I think. Let me double check because I can do this really on the fly. Oh no, where's this at? Yes, May 26th, coming out in Japanese theaters. So look forward to that when it comes out in the movie theaters. Anyways, here's Jared now from the past back. Anyways, you want to talk about some manga drama differences?
I sure
I guess
do.
there are going to be manga anime drama differences
Yeah.
to this because there's going to be quite a few differences, I think, in this one. Removed Ken climbing on top of a utility pole to eat oranges and Kira,
What a gremlin.
the older Kira,
Yeah.
Papa Kira. Removed Rohan meeting Joseph and Shizuka Joestar. Added a scene of Ken asking Kyoka why Hot Summer Martha has 4 circles instead of 3. Added scene of Rohan petting Bakin and Kyoka asking if Rohan is still angry at her for Hot Summer Martha's design. Added Ken following Kyoka to Rohan's house and knocking on his door. He also asked Rohan why Hot Summer Martha has 4 circles. Changed Ken into being a big fan of Pink Dark Boy who is obsessed with the number 3. Added scene of Rohan explaining the significance of the number 3. Changed Ken being struck by the arrow and falling off the pole to him tripping while he's walking on the crossroads due to the Sujigami yokai. Removed Ken's hole in his cheek. Added scene of Rohan coming back after a walk with Bakin and Ken waiting by his house instead of seeing Rohan at the train station. Added scene of Rohan exercising his arms and fingers. Changed Ken loving soccer and playing baseball to him liking arithmetic and writing. He likes pointing out when his homeroom teacher makes a miscalculation or typo on the board. In the manga, he stopped playing baseball after his coach complained about his long hair, so he blew his nose on the coach's hat. Added Ken's favorite Pink Dark Boy volumes being volumes 28 and 40, which he's reread about 20 times. Removed Josuke, Okuyasu, and Yukiko talking to Rohan at the cafe. They are replaced with Kyoka instead, who says their dialogue after Ken has a tantrum.
Huh.
Changed Rohan kicking Ken away to him bumping him away with his back. Added scene of Ken staying there and Rohan ordering him to leave before laughing. Added scene of Kyoka telling Rohan that he should be careful since he'll be in trouble if he goes viral for making a kid cry. Remove Rohan telling Ken that he'll get Ken's school and parents involved if he keeps bothering him. Change Rohan punching Ken so that his fist doesn't actually connect with Ken's face, though Ken falls down anyways. Remove the visual depiction of Heaven's Door being dragged away by Boy to Men. Changed Ken's page to say he lined up in the morning to get volume 95 of Pink Dark Boy, excited to see Hot Summer Martha. He's then disappointed and thinks Rohan didn't create the character. In the manga, Ken's page says he coincidentally met Rohan at Morio Station and wants to be like Rohan when he grows up. Changed 2 of Ken's pages to be blank with a thick black X covering the pages. The pages after mentioned 3 being a perfect number and the state of Ken's rock, paper, scissors obsession. Remove Rohan reading the rules of Boy to Men's ability and seeing his name. Remove Ken explicitly mentioning which parts of Rohan's body he has control of. Remove Ken saying Rohan punching himself is payback for Rohan punching Ken. Change the location of Rohan and Ken's rock, paper, scissors match being on top of a building instead of on the street. Change Ken calling over Joseph and Josuke to bringing Kyoka over instead. Change Rohan using Shizuka to change Ken's hand into a rock. Instead, Rohan takes out volume 95 of Pink Dark Boy and puts it in front of Ken. Seeing Hot Summer Martha's design subconsciously causes Ken to make a fist since he hates the design with 4 circles. Remove Rohan threatening to use Heaven's Door to make Ken never play rock, paper, scissors again.
No.
Remove Ken trying to kill himself by having a car hit him. Instead, Rohan throws a rock at a building's window, causing another glass shower. Ken admits defeat when Rohan is uninjured. So I think in the anime and the manga, like, he goes to throw himself in front of that car and Rohan gets him out of the way in time, and that's how he's like, oh, you have better luck than me.
Yeah.
Added scene of Rohan leaving behind a drawing of Hot Summer Martha's original design with 3 circles on the back of the Pink Dark Boy volume. Added scene of Kyoka visiting Jugo Shishi for an appointment, but him not answering the door. Added scene of Rohan and Kyoka walking with Bakin. Added Rohan explaining the Shujigami and telling Kyoka about street fortune telling. Added Kyoka saying she wants to travel abroad, kids talking about a haunted house, and Rohan mentioning bizarre phenomena around the world. Added a scene of Rohan exercising his fingers once again, and added a scene of Kyoka talking about Paris and taking out a note mentioning the Louvre Museum. It's a little bit different than like the anime and manga, but I feel like it still gets like, you know, the
It
point
gets
across.
the gist across.
And they're able to kind of fit it in with the Hot Summer Martha story as well and make it make sense.
Which was cute, yeah.
I think works as well.
I like the design of the 3 on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the cast commentary for this season?
You bet I do.
Let's talk about that. This is first from Issei Takahashi, who plays Rohan. When I participated in this work in 2020, I had no idea it would be a work that so many people would look forward to. The more I thought of the fans who love the original work, the more I poured my pure feelings into the series as the actor of Rohan without worrying what people think of me. The reality that Rohan speaks of isn't something that cannot be real, but something that can be real, and he's facing the world in pursuit of reality for the possibility of broadening his horizons. His flexible and strong attitude of not assuming the facts has influenced me a lot through his works. In fact, the world has changed since the first season was filmed, and things that weren't expected to happen in reality have become reality one after another. Although I haven't been satisfied with the world, I accepted, adapted, and faced reality. I think that's what Rohan would do, right? Now in its third season, the team of this work is as full-fledged as it was in the beginning, honoring the original manga world while also understanding the significance of creating a convincing live-action adaptation that viewers can believe could be possible in real life. This belief has not changed since the beginning. I hope that you will continue to enjoy this bizarre world of possibilities. This is from Marie Itoyo, who plays Kyoka. The Thus But Kishibe Rohan drama is now in its third season. For fans who love the original work and those who watch the drama, I'm glad to see you again, and for newcomers to the series, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to meet you for the first time. The character I play as, Kyoka Izumi, was originally a character that only appeared in Millionaire's Village as Rohan Sensei's editor in the original work until now. I think that the director, Issei-san, who plays Rohan Sensei, Suge-san, who supervises the character design, and the film crew all contributed to Kyoka Izumi's characterization in the subsequent episodes, making her feel present as a real human being. While honoring the original manga, I always thought about things like what I could do as I acted. I hope you enjoy it. Kotone Furukawa, who plays Eve. I tried to have fun and playfully acted as a flirtatious girl while enduring my shame. In our briefing session, I was told that this is the most powerful, terrifying, crazy, and evil enemy in Rohan's history. So not wrong.
No, not wrong.
So I took on the challenge of using all the tools Eve had at her disposal to make the immovable Rohan, or to move the immovable Rohan. To find out what kind of enemy I'll appear as, please take a look at the episode. Although we live in a world where we can't be careless yet, we should be careful not to let too much stress build up. I hope you enjoy episode 7. And then Hinata Hiragi plays Ken, the Jockin boy.
Mm-hmm.
He says, when I heard that I had been chosen to play as the rock, paper, scissors boy, I was more pressured than happy and worried about whether I could act well.
Oh, no.
But after going through costume fittings and rehearsals and learning about all the pins I'd have to wear, he didn't say that part, but it's very funny. He had a very wild costume.
Very wild.
I started to get excited little by little. I was happy to be able to wear rings and necklaces with my costume, and it was fun to play rock, paper, scissors with the director every time. It was very difficult to play rock, paper, scissors boy, but I read the original manga and the script many times before playing. I was very happy to receive advice from Takahashi-san on the set. So there you go.
Cute.
So I will guess we will learn more if they are doing more of these episodes later in the year, because I feel like that's kind of how they usually do that, where it's like August or something.
Mm-hmm.
Around the time is when they announce, hey, we're doing another one of these. Here's what the episodes are. Here's when they're going to air and everything. So it'll be a while before we learn if they're going to do more of these. So I hope they do more of these because they are very good and I really enjoy watching these.
Same.
It's a really fun adaptation of this story. And hopefully they decide to go with some of the things that we talked about in terms of like the next set of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really cool. I feel
I
you
agree.
don't put that reference in if you're not thinking about doing that. Like that's such a very specific reference for this character specifically.
Right. Because if you don't do it now, the people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's disappointing."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it could just be a nod, but that would be bummed if it was just like a nod to,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, that's a thing that happened."
Yeah. So hopefully that is the case. We get to see those.
I hope we get to see that. That would be amazing.
That would be fun.
But there's obviously a lot more content that can be adapted.
Yeah, totally. Like, there's still, like, certainly a couple of chapters left. Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manga chapters, I think, left that they could adapt. There's all the stuff from the short stories that they could do. Because I think they've only, like, tapped into that, like, maybe, like, 1 episode, I think. That is correct. And then they also have, like, stuff from Diamond is Unbreakable if they want to pull from that. So there's, like, a ton of stuff left that they could still do with this.
Correct.
So, yeah. Hopefully we get to see more of it.
I would love to see more of it.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode. Those were 2 very wild episodes.
Very
that first
wild.
one in particular is just, man.
It goes places.
It goes places.
Holy moly.
Holy moly, indeed. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week. If you would like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool. It's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Al Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, we will do something else. We haven't decided what we're doing yet, but we have things we have to talk about.
Yep.
Because we have a little bit of a backlog of stuff that got pushed back because
We
of
have
our
things on the
December
plate.
stuff. Yeah, so we'll figure something out and deliver you up a hot plate of good conversation.
Yay.